Hi, everyone. It's me, number 10, Basilosaurus. The Basilosaurus is an extinct genus of whale which lived between 41 and 38 million years ago. It was first discovered in 1834 and is one of the oldest known archaeocid whales. The fossils have been found in both Egypt and the United States. Scientists estimate that it reached lengths of up to 55 feet and weighed over 220,000 pounds. That size makes it comparable to today's sperm whale, but it had a much longer body with a smaller head and huge paddle-like flippers. Its name means king lizard, and despite being a whale, it was actually more closely related to land-dwelling reptiles than it was to fish. Whales evolved from terrestrial mammals about 50 million years ago and were fully aquatic animals by the time the Basilosaurus roamed the earth. But their closest relatives are still mammals who live on land. Number 9. Leadsichthys. The Leadsichthys is one of the largest bony fish that has ever existed. It was identified back in 1867 when fishermen in England pulled up bones from the seafloor, mistaking them for those of a large dog. It was so big that its jawbone measured 5 feet long, and its skeleton must have been close to 33 feet in length. This prehistoric fish had many distinctive features, including its very small eyes, which suggests that it was a bottom feeder. It also had extremely small scales compared to its gigantic body, which paleontologists think might have helped it move through the water more efficiently. In fact, scientists believe that the lead style could reach speeds of 25 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest fish of all time. It lived during the Jurassic period and was most likely hunted by marine reptiles like the ichthyosaur, which was a kind of dolphin-like monster that grew 85 feet long. Number 8. Mammoth Steppe. The Mammoth Steppe is a prehistoric creature that some experts believe was a contender for the title of largest animal to ever exist. This ancient mammal is considered to be a relative of the woolly mammoth, even though it lived much earlier, around 5 million years ago. It would have looked similar to a woolly mammoth, except it had shorter tusks and was definitely much larger. It weighed between 12 and 15 tons and stood 13 feet tall at the shoulder. It lived in North America and possibly Europe until around 10,000 years ago, long after the woolly mammoth had appeared on the scene. But just like the woolly mammoth, the Mammoth Steppe was eventually hunted to extinction by humans. Number 7. Titanoboa. The Titanoboa is widely considered to be the longest snake that has ever lived, reaching lengths of 42 to 50 feet. It was first discovered in 1999 inside the Coahuila and Tamaulipas states of Mexico. At the time, it was believed to be 50 feet long, but now experts think it was closer to 40 feet. Either way, this snake was an absolute unit. It was also about 11 feet wide and weighed somewhere around 1.5 tons. It lived in what is now northeastern Mexico about 40 million years ago, slithering through the shallow seas that covered the area. Scientists say that it was probably amphibious, meaning that it spent time both on land and in water. No. 6. Megalodon. The Megalodon is famous for being one of the largest predatory fish that has ever existed. It lived 23 to 3.6 million years ago and had an estimated maximum length of 59 feet and a weight of 60 tons. It's hard to imagine anything getting close to the Megalodon in terms of sheer power. The only animals that might have been able to take it were other megalodons. They're called the apex predator of the oceans and were easily capable of hunting any other sea creature they came across. Their ancestors were normal great white sharks that lived about 70 million years ago. Over millions of years, they gradually got bigger and meaner until they became the kings of the underwater world. Unfortunately, they went extinct when the Earth began to cool down about 3.6 million years ago. The cooling temperatures caused a drop in sea levels, which led to the Megalodon hunting grounds disappearing. Number 5. Denosidus. The Denosidus lived in the Eocene epoch, which was between 56 and 34 million years ago. It was a type of ancient whale that resembled a mixture between a crocodile and a whale. It had a very distinct skull with narrow jaws and teeth perfectly designed for catching fish. Its body looked like a mix between a frog and a seal. It was incredibly muscular with tiny little legs and a horizontally flattened tail. It could grow anywhere from 16 to 26 feet long, making it one of the most massive marine animals of its day. Scientists believe that the Denosidus ambushed its prey by leaping out of the water, kind of like a giant crocodile or an alligator. And although it looks more like a whale than a crocodile, it was actually more closely related to the latter. It was an apex predator that swam in the coastal waters of North America and Western Europe until going extinct about 34 million years ago. No, 4. Livyatan. The Livyatan is one of the largest and most terrifying creatures to ever swim in the ocean. It was discovered in 1851 by American geologist and paleontologist Edward Drinker Cope. He named it Livyatan because he thought it was the biggest, most fearsome monster to ever exist. It was about 55 feet long and weighed between 70 and 80 tons, putting it almost at the same size as today's blue whale. But don't let its size fool you. The Livyatan wasn't a whale at all. It was actually a type of prehistoric shark. In other words, it was an enormous carnivorous shark with rows upon rows of razor-sharp teeth. To put its size into perspective, the Livyatan was about twice as heavy as a double-decker bus and about as long as a Tyrannosaurus rex. No. 3. See Megalodon. The sea megalodon is an extinct species of cartilaginous fish that is closely related to the whale shark. But unlike the whale shark, which is mostly harmless, the sea megalodon was an apex predator. It was truly the king of the ocean and could grow up to a whopping 60 feet in length. This is why many people refer to it as the biggest shark that ever lived. Fossil evidence suggests that it first appeared in the seas about 66 million years ago and went extinct about 23 million years ago. Back in the day, scientists used to think that the megalodon was the same thing as the megalodon, but now we know they're completely different. The megalodon was huge, but it was a filter-feeding animal that only ate plankton. The sea megalodon, on the other hand, had very large and very sharp teeth, which suggests that it preferred to eat meat. Experts aren't exactly sure what it ate, but it most likely went after fish, squid, crustaceans, and possibly even other sharks. No. 2. Helicoprion. The Helicoprion was a strange-looking cartilaginous fish that lived about 290 million years ago. It had several unique features that set it apart from other prehistoric sea monsters. For one thing, it had a spiral-shaped, tooth-like structure protruding from the front of its head. Scientists aren't really sure what it did, but they're pretty sure it had something to do with eating. Some researchers believe the fish used it to hold onto its prey, while others think it served as a kind of anchor for sucking prey into its mouth. The Helicoprion had a very odd distribution of cartilage within its body. Most fish have cartilage near their skeletons, but the Helicoprion had cartilage all throughout its muscles. It also had an exceptionally long dorsal fin that stretched the entire length of its back. It could grow about 20 feet long, making it a truly massive fish. But despite its size, it was so bizarre looking that it wasn't very intimidating. So no one knows for sure what it ate. All we know is that it went extinct 270 million years ago. Number 1. Titanoboa. The Titanoboa is considered to be the longest snake that has ever lived. It weighed about 1.5 tons and measured between 42 and 50 feet long. To put that into perspective, it was about as heavy as a fully grown African bush elephant and about as long as two Tyrannosaurus rexes lined up head to tail. It lived in what is now northeastern Mexico about 40 million years ago, and unfortunately, it's believed to have died out due to the cooling of global temperatures. As the Earth began to cool, the sea levels dropped and the Titanoboa lost its habitat. The Titanoboa wasn't the only giant prehistoric snake either. Between 55 and 60 million years ago, there was another gigantic snake named Gigantifus garstini, which reached lengths of 39 feet. That's about as long as a school bus.